Okay, Democrats are wasting no time in starting to mess up the 2020 primary, and potentially even the 2020 presidential election with bogus articles stirring up unnecessary and concocted drama. And I want to walk you through this story step by step because it's sort of complex, although I'm confident we'll all be able to understand it. So let's go to the beginning. A story was published. Well, if we want to go to the beginning, Bernie was screwed in the 2016 Democratic primary. That's the context in which we're operating here. A story was published over our holiday week, a holiday weekend break, I guess we would call it, on NBC News called Inside Bernie World's War on Beto O'Rourke. And the article is written by Jonathan Allen and Alex Seitz-Wald. And I've actually interviewed Alex Seitz-Wald before. I interviewed him on the program back in 2012 about Mitt Romney's campaign. At the time, Alex was a staff writer at Salon.com. This article that was written by Jonathan Allen and Alex Seitz-Wald claims that there are sort of Bernie-aligned leftists, supporters of Bernie, and it sort of indirectly sort of hints that maybe there's more than just supporters of Bernie that are involved here, who are waging some kind of war on Beto O'Rourke, the Democratic candidate for Senate out of Texas who lost to Ted Cruz in the November midterm elections. And it frames these Bernie supporters very negatively and says that, Bernie supporters are claiming Beto's not progressive enough, that he's close to corporate donors, that he sometimes votes for Republicans, all of which are true, by the way, but are also true of other centrist Democrats as well. And we'll get to that. And what this article claims to make the case for is that the Democratic primary is already shaping up to be really, really ugly. Of course, before we even know who's running yet. We don't know if Bernie's running, although I believe that he is going to. We don't know if Beto O'Rourke is running. We don't know if Hillary Clinton is running, and that's relevant, and we'll get to why in a second. And the article says that this fight is counterproductive. Now, a lot of the claims being made in the article aren't crazy in and of themselves. Questioning how progressive is Beto O'Rourke is a completely reasonable thing to do. Looking at whether Democrats are going to be hurt by an ugly primary is a completely valid question to ask and discussion to have. But our friend and investigative reporter David Sirota has exposed that the article claiming that there is a Bernie wing war on Beto O'Rourke is itself a trumped up fake fight. David Sirota took to Twitter and said, "This NBC News story accusing Bernie of waging a war on Beto was written by a former staffer for Debbie Wasserman Schultz and a former staffer at Neera Tanden's Center for American Progress." The idea being this is establishment Dems trying to criticize Bernie by saying his followers are unfairly attacking Beto O'Rourke. And when you look into it, you do find that Alex Seitz-Wald is an assistant editor at thinkprogress.org, which is part of the Center for American Progress's Action Fund, which is a main player in the Democratic Party establishment at this point. It is indeed headed by Neera Tanden, a member of Hillary Clinton's advisors in the 2016 primaries. The other author of the article, Jonathan Allen, worked for Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the DNC chair. So this article contains some truisms. It contains, some statements that are, of course, true, but not particularly meaningful just because they're true. It is a bad idea for possible Democratic candidates to start attacking each other now, right? That's true if it's what's happening. It's just not actually what's going on. It's written by individuals tied to the establishment Democratic Party, associated with Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Hillary Clinton, who were working against Bernie Sanders for the entire 2016 campaign. So the problem I have with this, Pat, number one, is that it doesn't actually call out real infighting that's taking place. This is a fake war by Bernie supporters on Beto O'Rourke. It is true that there's a growing contingent on the internet that has decided Beto O'Rourke is just not really a progressive guy. He's a sort of secret establishment centrist who must be taken down for his occasional voting with Republicans. I'm fine having the conversation about how progressive is Beto O'Rourke, and we had the conversation, and I determined He's way better than Ted Cruz, and we should obviously vote for him in Texas. But the idea of a Bernie supporter war on Beto written by these particular people stinks of AstroTurf to me.
Me too. I think when the 2020 presidential race does come around, there's going to be a wide pool of Democratic candidates, and you're going to have some establishment types in there, maybe like Beto O'Rourke, and you're going to have some progressives in there, maybe like Bernie Sanders. And there'll probably be some infighting at that point, and that could be healthy. There's an argument to be made that's actually good for the party. But it has to happen naturally. It has to be organic. I mean, you can't just stage something like this.
No question about it. Look, during the Republican primary, which started with 17 candidates, there was significant infighting. And ultimately, the party rallied around the wacky, inexperienced, totally clueless person that won the nomination, which was Donald Trump. And the discussions that were taking place within the Republican primary were often based on the physical appearance of people, and nicknaming them. But that's okay. I mean, it's still just an example of the fact that that internal debate can happen when it's actually taking place. That's fine to report on it. This is not actually happening. There is no big Bernie attack or war on Beto. There are just reasonable people who may have voted for Hillary Clinton or Bernie or whoever, who are evaluating possible candidates and sometimes giving their opinion. And the truth is, of course, rarely as black and white as either this is fake AstroTurf drama or this is real. Beto's not the perfect candidate. He lost in 2018. There are many options for 2020 for Democrats who could be better than Beto O'Rourke. But Beto O'Rourke is not the problem. Bernie Sanders supporters are not the problem. And Democrats need to start working now to prevent the 2020 primary from being destroyed, possibly in even worse ways than the 2016 primary was destroyed. Send me your thoughts if you have questions about this or anything else. I've been taking questions on the David Pakman Show Instagram page for the last 24 hours. I will be taking them for a few more hours. Follow the show on Instagram at David Pakman Show. And while you're there, follow me at david.pakman. Today's program was made possible in part by Blinkist.com/Pakman. I love Blinkist. It's the really perfect app for anybody who likes politics and learning. And if you're watching or listening to the David Pakman Show, I'm sure you love politics and learning. And what Blinkist does is take the best and most popular nonfiction books, they condense them into 15-minute audiobooks that you can listen to in one sitting, and you can learn about politics, philosophy, psychology, economics. Often, we don't have the time to actually read as many books as we would like. I know that I'm at my limit for how much I can read. And this way, you can absorb the most important, valuable information from books in just 15 minutes, maybe on your way to work, maybe on your way to the gym, maybe cooking vegan recipes at home, whatever is your thing. And our audience can get a 7-day free trial by going to Blinkist.com/Pakman. If you're watching on YouTube, I've put a link in the video description. And after the free trial, if you like it, and I think you will, you can continue enjoying thousands of condensed audiobooks for just about $5 a month. You can go to blinkist.com/PAKMAN to sign up.